King crabs are a valuable seafood, and catching them requires specialized techniques and equipment. To catch king crabs, fishermen often use special crab traps, called pot traps, made of steel and strong mesh. These traps are dropped on the seabed in areas where king crabs live, usually in waters 100 to 200 meters deep. Traps are usually placed in areas with cold water temperatures and rocky seabeds, where king crabs like to hide. The bait to lure crabs into the traps is usually fish or other seafood. After the traps are dropped, fishermen will use fishing boats to move and check the traps again after a certain period of time, from a few hours to a few days, depending on weather and tidal conditions. Once the trap is pulled up, fishermen will select king crabs that meet the required size and weight, and release those that do not meet the requirements to protect sustainable aquatic resources. The process of catching king crabs requires care and experience, because moving in the cold sea environment, strong winds and strong waves can pose many risks. Next, after the king crabs are harvested, preserving them is very important to maintain the quality and freshness of the product. King crabs are usually kept in a cold environment immediately after being caught from the sea. They can be frozen immediately or transported in refrigerated ships to processing facilities. Fast transportation helps to maintain the freshness of the crabs, because king crabs are very susceptible to death if not properly preserved. In addition, the technology of raising king crabs in marine farms is also being researched and developed to help maintain a stable supply, reducing pressure on wild crab resources. However, king crab fishing still relies heavily on traditional fishing methods with strict regulations to ensure the sustainability of the industry. The king crab fishing process also requires strict compliance with regulations on environmental protection and marine ecology. Fishermen need to avoid damaging marine ecosystems during the fishing process. And only catch crabs during the permitted season to ensure that the crabs have enough time to reproduce and grow. These measures not only help protect the king crab but also maintain the balance of the marine ecosystem in the long term. To maintain the sustainability of the king crab fishing industry, organizations and governments have also adopted strict management measures, such as limiting the number of crabs allowed to be caught each year, as well as regulating the minimum size of crabs allowed to be caught. Sea areas with large numbers of king crabs are often closely monitored to avoid overexploitation, leading to a decline in the king crab population. Fishermen are also required to use licensed fishing gear and equipment, which helps to minimize negative impacts on the marine environment and other species. In addition, some areas may adopt selective fishing methods, such as crab traps with smaller meshes to prevent the capture of small or juvenile crabs, thereby protecting the breeding stock for future generations. Some areas, such as Alaska in the US or coastal areas of Russia, have established sustainable fishing systems, MSC, Marine Stewardship Council, ensuring that king crab is caught in an environmentally friendly manner and ensuring long-term profitability. In addition, the king crab industry faces challenges from climate change, as changes in sea temperatures can affect the growth and distribution of crabs. These changes can lead to king crab migrating to deeper waters or farther from shore, increasing the cost and difficulty of catching. Therefore, researchers are also actively studying to predict these changing trends and develop appropriate adaptation strategies. Overall, although king crab fishing brings high economic value, it also requires careful consideration of environmental protection and long-term maintenance of marine resources. Sustainable management measures combined with cooperation between fishermen, governments and conservation organizations will be important factors to help this industry develop stably and protect the biodiversity of the ocean in addition to environmental management and protection measures. An indispensable factor in king crab fishing is the application of modern technology. Fishing vessels today are equipped with GPS systems and detection tools, helping fishermen accurately identify areas with high king crab densities. This technology not only helps increase fishing efficiency but also minimizes encroachment into areas not suitable for fishing, thereby minimizing negative impacts on other marine ecosystems. In addition, some research is being conducted to improve crab traps to minimize their impact on non-target marine organisms such as fish and other marine animals. New trap designs can be equipped with automatic systems to release unwanted species back into the ocean, thereby helping to protect biodiversity in fishing areas. In the context of globalization and increasing demand for king crab, protecting this seafood resource is not only the responsibility of fishermen but also of international organizations. International cooperation agreements, such as the Arctic Crab Fisheries Agreement, play an important role in ensuring that the king crab fishery can develop without harming other marine populations or causing degradation of the marine environment. In the future, if environmental protection and sustainable development efforts are maintained and improved, the king crab industry can continue to thrive, providing a stable source of income for fishermen, while protecting precious ocean resources for future generations. A notable development in the king crab fishery is the promotion of a responsible fishing model that combines exploitation and conservation. Many fishermen and businesses in the industry have realized that a reasonable fishing strategy not only protects the long-term resource but also enhances the value of the king crab product. King crab, with its high value and high demand in the international market, is increasingly consumed, especially in large markets such as the US, Japan and European countries. Therefore, sustainable fishing can bring double benefits. Both conserving natural resources and creating stable profits for fishermen. One of the new strategies today is to encourage forms of sustainability certification, such as certification from the MSC, Marine Stewardship Council, where fishermen or processors can demonstrate that they comply with strict regulations on environmental protection and responsible fishing practices. These certified king crab products are often preferred by the market because consumers are increasingly interested in the origin and production methods of food, especially marine products. Processors and distributors are also encouraging fishermen to engage in sustainable fishing systems, as this not only helps protect resources but also contributes to building a reputable brand for the product. In addition, developing scientific research programs on the biology of king crab and the impact of environmental factors on their growth is another important factor. Researchers are trying to learn more about the factors that affect the health and growth of king crab, from sea temperature to changes in the types of food available on the seabed. This understanding will help improve fishing methods that do not affect the reproduction of king crab and ensure that king crab populations can grow sustainably. In short, the king crab fishery has a great opportunity to develop in a sustainable way. With a combination of technology, scientific research, and reasonable management strategies, protecting the marine environment, maintaining king crab populations and harvesting fisheries resources responsibly are key to ensuring the industry continues to thrive, while safeguarding marine resources for future generations in the context of increasing global challenges such as climate change and marine pollution. The king crab fishery also needs to face issues related to marine ecological protection and changes in the natural habitat of this species. Climate change, especially the increase in sea temperature, can affect the reproductive cycles and development of king crabs, causing them to move to other seas or change their living habits. This requires fishermen and related organizations to continuously monitor and adjust fishing methods to respond to these changes. One possible solution in the future is the application of marine animal tracking technology, biotelemetry, allowing researchers and fishermen to monitor the movement and behavior of king crabs in the natural environment. Tagging king crabs provides important data on how and where they live, which can help inform more appropriate fishing strategies that minimize impacts on populations and marine ecology. Furthermore, conservation strategies for king crabs will need to extend beyond the area of harvest to waters not directly affected by fishing, protecting areas that are important to the breeding and growth cycle of king crabs, such as areas with food-rich seabeds that are not overly disturbed, is part of the plan to protect this resource. Marine Protected Areas, MPAs, can be an effective tool to minimize the impacts of fishing and help restore depleted king crab populations. Another element of king crab conservation is increased international cooperation. Because king crabs inhabit many international waters, especially in the Arctic and other cold seas, cooperation between countries in developing uniform fishing regulations is essential. International organizations such as the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, FAO, and marine conservation organizations must continue to promote information sharing and implement sustainable fishing plans to ensure that fishing does not deplete king crab populations and other marine ecosystems. The future of the king crab industry, therefore, depends not only on the efforts of fishermen but also on the coordination between scientists, governments, environmental organizations and the international community. Only when stakeholders are united and cooperate closely can the king crab industry develop stably and sustainably, meeting the increasing demand of the market while protecting precious marine resources for future generations. King crabs, with high economic value, are caught mainly using specially designed crab traps that are sturdy to ensure the safety of the crabs and the marine environment. The fishing process begins with the traps being dropped into deep sea areas where king crabs live, usually at a depth of 100 to 200 meters. These traps are baited, usually fish or other seafood, to lure the crabs in. After a period of time, the traps are pulled up, and the king crabs are sorted by size. Only those that meet the requirements are kept, while the smaller ones are released to preserve the species. This process requires great care and precision, because if the breeding areas are not well protected, the crab population can decline rapidly. After the king crabs are harvested, they will be transported immediately to processing facilities to ensure freshness. One of the most popular methods of processing king crabs is steaming or boiling. The crabs will be boiled or steamed in boiling water for about 10 to 15 minutes, until the crab shell turns a characteristic orange-red color. The crabs are then quickly cooled for preservation. King crabs can be consumed immediately after processing, or frozen for long-distance transport. King crab meat has a naturally sweet taste, is soft and easy to separate from the shell, and is often used to prepare high-class dishes such as sushi, seafood salad, or as the main dish in luxury seafood parties. To ensure quality, king crabs are often stored in a cold environment, maintaining freshness and not losing their characteristic flavor after king crab is processed. One of the important factors in the next stage is packaging and transportation. To preserve king crab in the best condition, they are often cleaned, deboned and packed in vacuum packs or frozen boxes to maintain freshness and flavor. King crab can also be processed into ready-to-eat products such as canned crab meat, pre-steamed crab or seasoned crab. These products not only save time for consumers but also expand the consumption market, from luxury restaurants to ordinary consumers. Another favorite processing method is to prepare king crab by grilling or stir-frying, in which the crab meat will be marinated with spices, garlic, butter or herbs to create a flavorful dish. Grilled or stir-fried king crab can be served whole or separated to be served as a side dish with vegetables, pasta or rice. The sweet and tender taste of king crab meat makes it an ideal dish at seafood parties, and is often paired with special sauces such as garlic butter sauce or passion fruit sauce. Besides main dishes, king crab meat can also be prepared into luxurious appetizers such as crab soup, crab salad or sushi with fresh crab meat. These dishes are often served in high-end restaurants and are part of high-end seafood menus. King crab, with its excellent natural flavor and high nutritional value, is an important ingredient in global cuisine, not only popular in countries with king crab resources but also exported to many international markets. With the combination of sophisticated fishing techniques, meticulous processing procedures and scientific preservation methods, king crab can maintain its quality and meet the increasing consumer demand worldwide. In order to meet the increasing demand and maintain product quality, king crab processing facilities also apply more advanced preservation methods. One of the modern technologies used is flash freezing, which helps to keep the freshness of crabs immediately after processing. After being steamed or boiled, king crabs will